This question is extremely important for each and every Muslim. Ramadan is in few days' time. It is not permissible for me to say, oh, I didn't know that drinking soft drinks nullifies your fasting. Knowing what breaks your fasting is an obligatory act upon each and every one of us. So what breaks my fast? There are 7 things that usually scholars mention when they talk about things that nullify fasting. The greatest of them all is intercourse. Of course, with a spouse. I'm not talking about zina, fornication, adultery. I'm talking about legitimate relationship between a man and his wife. This is totally prohibited on the daytime of Ramadan. And if he does, or if she does that, then first of all, the day is void. But they must maintain fasting. Though it's void, they have to make up for that day. They have to give expiation each. And the expiation is to free a slave, or to fast 2 consecutive months, or to feed 60 poor person, not to choose of these 3, but to take them gradually. If you don't have a slave, you have to fast 2 consecutive months. If you're sick or unable to continue or complete these 2 consecutive months, then you have to feed 60 poor person. If I'm totally broke and I cannot feed any person, there's nothing for you to do. So if a man has intimacy with his wife without penetration and he or she ejaculates, this does not fall under the category of intercourse. This falls under the category of masturbation. If penetration takes place without ejaculating, this is intercourse. So they have to be careful to know the difference between the two. Number 2, it's known as masturbation. Intentionally ejaculating. Wet dreams are not within your control. When you're asleep, you don't have the option or the choice whether to do this or to do that. It happens. So it has no impact on your fasting. But to purposely ejaculate, whether by masturbating, by watching something that provokes you to ejaculate intentionally, in this case, this nullifies your fasting. Do I have to pay the expiation of freeing a slave, fasting 2 consecutive months, or feeding 60 poor people? No, you don't, but it's a sinful thing. So the third thing after intercourse, ejaculation, is eating and drinking. So anything that a person consumes that goes into his stomach would invalidate his fasting. If he does this intentionally, and if he does this remembering and knowing the ruling of it, even if he swallows a pill or he swallows a stone, this would invalidate his fasting. Fourthly, anything that is nourishing your body, such as glucose in the IV that people take, and they can live on that for a number of days. Fifthly, intentional vomiting. So, for example, someone fills up his stomach, and all of a sudden, without him intending it, he has to throw out. He goes and rushes to the toilet, he throws out. His fast is intact. Someone who is feeling uneasy, he ate too much and he doesn't feel good, he inserts his finger in his throat and he throws up. His fasting is invalid because he did that intentionally, whether by inserting his finger, by smelling something repulsive that makes him throw up, the same ruling. And the 6th thing that nullifies fasting is also unintentional, which is menstruation and postnatal bleeding. Once it happens, the fast is void and they cannot fast. And finally, an issue of dispute, which is cupping. The scholars differ whether this breaks fasting or not. I'm inclined that it does not break your fasting or affect it, but we mention it because a great number of scholars say it does. But if a person has to do the random check of diabetes, or he has to take a sample of blood for lab tests, does this fall under hijama? The answer is no. There's no problem in doing that.